Okay, so once you have Notepad++ installed, I put the link in this class. So essentially, wherever it is on your computer, you're looking for that python.exe. If you just search right here and then open file like I did, easiest way to do it, which is just exe, and then you right-click it, open file location, and it pops right here. So you just essentially copy this, put /python.exe in it, then throw that into Notepad++, and we're going to save it as Python. Found because I already have that old one, so we're going to use F8. Run it. There it goes. Hello world. And then leaves you at a prompt, but that's fine. So Control S, Control 8, there it is. So that's how you use Notepad. So with Notepad, I can actually probably should have left that there since I'm going to be using it. There we go. Can everyone see that in the back? Is anybody here? In body but not in mind? Okay. Excellent. A raucous nothing. Okay. I like... Let's do something nice and blocky. Everyone read that in the back? I can do a little more. Got that. Okay. So that is the first assignment that I need you guys to do. I think only a couple of you have submitted it. Well, a couple of you had in this class. A couple of you had. And the online people, you need to get on that because you have two things to do this Sunday. You have this, and then we also have some pseudocode. So you might be asking yourself, what is pseudocode? Pseudocode is not actually code. You can't run it. You can't compile it. All it really is your notes. So let's go to the folder. There we go. Awesome. Let's do word wrap. Hey, there we go. Okay. So there's a typo in there. So essentially, all I'm asking you to do is write a little script that will ask the user for two variables, create a new variable that will equal the sum, the difference, the product, the quotient, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of the variables, with the first variable being on the left. So always, you know, variable A will always be on the left of the equation. So I don't want you to lie, because, you know, if you move A over and you put B, it'll make everything messy. So the first variable, whether you name it variable A or variable 1, don't give it a name like A or B. That's just bad practice. It doesn't tell anybody what it actually is. So it'll be variable A plus minus multiplied divided by variable B equals variable C, or you can put total, or you can put whatever, variable total after each operator. Then print the values, and once it's all been done, you can ask the user, would you like to do it again? If not, if yes, then repeat. If not, end. So rather than give you the answer, I'm going to write a new one. I'm going to say, so take a string from the user, print it both all capital and lowercase. And then ask user if they want to do it again. So that's what we're going to do here in class. Oops. So that's what we're focused on right now. Because if you can do this, you can do the other assignment. So what do you think we should do first? Logically. This is all about teaching you logic and step-by-step processes. And that's all programming really is. Line 1 has to do something, and then line 2 builds on that, line 3 builds on that, and so on and so forth. Especially in script programming, because it's just line by line interpreted. So what's the first thing we're going to do? What's the first thing we're going to do?
Take a string.
Yeah, ask user for a string. So with pseudocode, you usually want to use words like get or take, or you can say like, you know, prompt user to enter string value. And then get string from user. And what's next? You guys not read that? Everyone's being quiet. Okay, let's. Okay. Okay. So what's step 2? What's that? Print, yeah. So what does it ask for first? It asks for capital and then asks for lowercase. So what should we put here?
Capital.
Yeah. So we're going to say print string all capital. No. What's next? Logically. Yeah. Okay, so here's where the more difficult part is. Not really that bad. So what's next? We're gonna ask the user what they want to do, right? So we're gonna print ask user if they want to repeat. If yes, we start program. Else end. So what that does for you is say, okay, I'm working on the first line. So now I'm going to reach into my Python knowledge that you guys will someday have. And I'm going to say, okay, how do I get input from a user? Well, first you need to say, you know, welcome to the capitalization program, capitalization and lowercase program. Please enter your string, right? Because a good program will tell you what to do. If it's just a blank line, they're going to go, what am I supposed to do? What the heck am I supposed to do? I've not had enough caffeine. My filter's running thin, so. Sorry if naughty words offend your PPs. Or burping. Ugh. It's been a long week, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this like whole semester. 4 days of teaching, 5 days of tinkering at Tinker. And then I got the kids. Man. I feel like I don't feel like that. Ever seen The Hobbit, or not The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings? Like, I feel like too little butter spread over too much bread. So, whenever your boss says, hey, can you take on another project, you need to really ask yourself, can I do this? And if there's that shred of, then you should just say no. But I like money, so here I am. And your last professor ditched us, so. But I think I'll teach us a little more appetizing. So that's pretty much it. That's all pseudocode is. It's just an outline. So say I have a program that I'm working on where I have to check a device. I have to see, is it using this protocol? If yes, then I have to find every instance of that protocol. Every virtual server that uses that protocol, I have to catch them and put them into something so I can look at them later. So what would be the first thing I got to do? This is going to be my program right here. So I need to find if the device actually uses something. So I'm going to say search text for, let's say, does it use 443, which is, anyone know what port that is on a computer? Probably not, because I don't think anyone here is really like a gung-ho computer user except for, say, a couple people. What is it? What is 443? What is 443? You guys are my A team. Come on. You guys get my jokes, and you tinker with computers before. 443 is HTTPS. So anytime you connect to a web server that's secure, you're using port 443. So I would structure it like this: search for 443 I'll search the entire device, see if 443 shows up anywhere. Then I'll say if yes. Now I have to find every virtual server that uses it. So search device for all virtual servers. Put virtual servers that use 443 into an array. So that's my first kind of steps that I'll take for this program. So what's next? I need to see if any of those servers in that array are using it, right? So search array for servers that, so I'll put all virtual servers. In PHP, it's preg match. You have to go line by line for each item in this array. Preg match this. So, but we're not using PHP, so we'll say for each. And you can use a little bit of code, like if you're lining something up, you're going to use a while loop. Put while in there, so later on, say you jot this down and you're like, I have to go do something else for 6 hours, and then I'll come back to this. Put in little notes of actual, like so in Python, there's a for loop. Obviously, it turns blue, and that's what this. All these are functions that are built into Python. It'll highlight them in blue, depending on your color scheme. I usually use black with gray letters or black with orange letters because it's easier for me to read. So for each item in array that uses 443, find. So it uses 443. We got to make sure it uses some sort of valid search. So find a search virtual server for, we'll say, CA certs. So I have all these virtual servers in this big array, this big cluster of items. So now I got to search each one and see if they have valid certs. So if server has valid certs, print this one is good. Else, print this one needs attention. Essentially, that means it's not secure. Since I'm just searching, I'm not actually doing anything. We don't have to worry too much about that part. And then, so the else to this one right here, with Python you always use tabs, which we'll go into in ad nauseum. So if server, or if device doesn't use 443, print this device doesn't use 443. So before, this is actually similar to something that I wrote. I had a little more detail because there's a lot more steps than what I'm showing you guys. But so this would be kind of an outline of your program that you need to write. Anyone have any problems understanding what pseudocode is for? Because this will be useful in like the later program, especially like the final. Whenever you're doing a much larger program, you'll have to kind of say, what you're going to do. And not everyone uses it. Like if I have a really short script that I have to write, I don't use pseudocode or flowcharts, which we'll talk about here in a second. I just do it line by line. And if I think of something like, oh, it'd be really good if I checked for this, I might jot it down in the program with a comment. So, but whatever kind of helps you, because sometimes some people are very logically centered minded, and programming is very easy for you. Some people, it's not quite as cut and dry. You might try to jump the gun and do something that you need to do something else in order to prepare for that. Because if I were to just search all servers for the CA cert, I'm either wasting time because I'm searching a device that doesn't use it, or each device or each server maybe. Well, there's a bunch of problems you can run into, so that's just kind of block it out like so. This I have to write that down, but it's a good example just to kind of keep it in mind. So whenever you guys are done with that, I'll show you flowcharts. Some people are more graphically minded versus text. Some people like pre-pictures, which flowcharts are not that, but they're a little more artsy, I suppose. And I'll just pull up an example off of Google, and then we'll make one. And I suppose for this assignment, if you want to do flowcharts or pseudocode, you can do either or. I don't mind. Just do one or the other. What's up?
This is like taking notes, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, thinking about what you need to do and then jotting down each step so you don't skip a step.
This is called what again?
Pseudocode. P-S-E-U-D-O-C-O-D-E. P-S-E-U-D-O-C-O-D-E. Pseudocode. Because it's not really code. Like if I were to try to run this, it would scream at me and say, none of this makes sense. Stupid human, this does not make sense. Now, it seems kind of arbitrary for like a really short program, but if you have a program that's like 2,000 lines, it becomes a little bit more useful. So, everyone good on this? Everyone smell what I'm stepping in, catching what I'm throwing? Anyone? Okay. Anyone not? Anyone having some issues? Wrapping your mind around this? Did you set it to Python? Yeah. Go to languages, P, Python. And the colors only really be useful whenever we actually get into scripting, but. Anybody else? Questions? Okay. Like I said, some of you guys, this is going to be super simple. Some of you guys, it's going to be hard. So I figure we'll take a slow path. So let's look at some flow charts. Flow chart is just that. Lamp doesn't work. Is the lamp plugged in? No. Plug in lamp. Then you recycle. Does lamp work? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is really all a flow chart is. So let's paint. So let's do a flow chart of this. I want shapes. There we go. And it's best if you kind of follow their guidelines. Let's see. So usually questions or like logic statements start with a kind of a squared off thing, a rectangular squared off rectangle, I don't know, whatever. So we'll go into let's type in, let's see, how many steps are we gonna have? So we gotta get the input from the user, then we need to do something, and then we need to ask the user. So let's do another one of these. Then we'll have a nice little and this is why I'm not a graphic designer. So there's kind of our structure. So let's do, where is donde estas text? Okay. So we're going to type in, what should I type up here? This is this one. Yeah, take string from user. And this, for brevity, we'll say A. So those are going to be our two variables that we use. Then we'll just say plus minus equals to C. We actually need another one because we're going to print it. Got it. Got-y. So we're going to scoot this down a little bit. Of course, it cut it off. Excellent. This is going swimmingly. You can use Visio. I would suggest you use Visio if you have it. I think you can get it. I think you can get it from the university off whatever it used to be, DreamSpace or Dream something, DreamSpark. But I don't. I think they use something else now. I think you can get Visio from it. Don't quote me on it though. But this is the only time I'm going to have you send me a flowchart. So, but some people find it useful. So I'm going to show you both ways to do it. I think pseudocode's much cleaner and neater and takes less time. But like I said, if you have a massive program and you just want to kind of block off each portion of it, flowcharts are pretty good. So let's go back to tools. We'll say print C each iteration. This is super pretty, you guys. You guys are blessed to have me as a professor doing this. So we'll go to this. So here's our decision structure. Ask user if they want to repeat. If yes, let's put a nice little arrow. Else. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Too much. Awesome. Two things. Okay. So that's pretty much on the go. So this is our flowchart for that little example I have on the right. It's really ugly, and I apologize, but that's essentially the concept of it. You have your decisions, you have your doers, and a print. Usually you should put a print in a circular bubble, but it doesn't really matter. Because really, I doubt your job is ever going to be like, I need you to give me a flowchart and make sure you use proper standards and guidelines. I doubt that's ever going to happen. But so this is not lore. This is not canon. of how to do it, but this is a general overview. That's flowchart. Use whichever you want on the assignment. I don't honestly care. I just want you to get into the programming mindset by doing stuff step by step logically, because it will pay great dividends later on in the semester. So any questions about that? If I was a smart person, I would have built this prior to coming to class today, but I'm not a smart man. But I know what programming is.
You do it so perfect.
Well, little known fact, that's my favorite movie, so.
Forrest Gump.
It's just a great movie.
That's fair.
It's just a
Do you
great
cry
movie.
every time you still watch it?
No, like, okay, the Bubba part kind of gets me a little bit. Because he's just like, Forrest, if I knew that was the last thing I was going to say to Bubba, I'd have said something else. Hey, I want to go home. That's, oh, God. This nice man is in a terrible country. He just wants to go home. It's tough. I like Bubba. Benjamin Buford Blue, shrimp captain, someday, if he hadn't kicked it. Kicked it, yeah. But just everyone in that movie is just like perfect. The mom, Tom Hanks, great. Lieutenant Dan, God, I could not pick a better actor for that. But that's essentially how this works. I know this kind of seems abstract and very boring, which programming kind of is boring. But here at Rose State, we want you to know at least a little bit so you can go out in the world and kind of know what you're talking about. Is that how you spell iteration? Yep. There are two T's? Iteration? ITT? No. I think that's right. Anyway, we'll call it right. That's just some lead grammar if it's wrong. Oh crap. This is the actual assignment. I didn't do this one. So if you're looking at, so this is more or less this. So I do want you to do the pseudocode. I don't want you to do this because you can just copy this and send it to me. So yeah, do the pseudocode. Keep with the assignment. But this is, by the way, flowcharts. Okay. Yeah. So that's all I want. That and the hello world, which I think most people have done. But I want you to either do it like this, showing me that you have Notepad++ with Python installed, or I want you to do it in the idle. I want you to prove to me that you have it on your computer at home, because you're going to need to do some homework in this class. Because you're not going to have enough time in class. We're not even going to be doing the final in class, so I don't want to get like email at the very end of the semester, hey, I'm having a problem installing Python for my final. Because that'll make me very cross to be answering those questions that late in the semester. So install it at home on your home computer and show me in idle. Matter of fact, do this in idle on your home PC. Don't use Notepad++. I know I'm adding stuff, and I really won't grade you negatively if you don't, but I'd like for you guys to do it. Like, the important part, the takeaway from this, have Python installed at your home computer. So you can work on it at home. But yeah, just give me the pseudocode of this right here. So, any questions? I know this has been confusing. I didn't really gear up for this. I'm much more geared up for the actual Python part, so this is kind of slapped together last minute, as you can probably tell. Questions? And this right here, I don't know what you guys are looking at, but this right here is in the Dropbox. If you go, excuse me, to the actual folder for the pseudocode, it's right here. Because next week, guess what? This is the program we're writing. It's going to be your assignment for next week, I think. I think it's this week, yeah, or next week. So you need to script this out in pseudocode so you can script it out in Python starting Tuesday. So, questions, comments, concerns, complaints, gripes? Fling upon me your arrows of sorrow and doubt.
this the same thing we just did, pretty much? For homework?
Yeah, it's just it is do it with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all your homework is. So super easy. Eventually, Python will start eating up more and more of your life, but early on, why don't you guys worry about your history and your math classes, and your classes that are actually, you know, your major. Because does anybody here actually want to do Python or want to do programming? I think there was like one, yeah, two, three, 2.5 maybe. Maybe we'll say so two halves, so three total people. So this will be useful for you guys if you guys do programming. So for all you other guys, I'm sorry you have to take this class, but it is good to know. What's up?
Can you check this real quick? Okay. I'm so much reading this, so how do I know if I installed if it's running on Admin Plus?
Oh, you need to do the whole path there. You need the entire, essentially the entire line. That's that one, right? You need the C and E backslash
Okay,
A.
just make sure. Just make sure.
Then you need the full path. So you need to open up,
Just make sure.
because it's like the $ full current path part at the end of that.
Okay, so just make sure what I did was just like you said, just search Python
ID, yeah, that's what you got.
I want to just show you what I did, and I want to see if I'm right because I just ID step by step. This is still new to me, so. Right click. And I just ran the file.
Open application. Yeah, so essentially you'll click on this white space to the right of where it says Python to the right. Yeah, white space. So just the clear blank area. Yeah, right there. That gives you the path, and you do just backslash python.exe. You just type that in, copy that, throw it into that.
Okay.
And then plus if you look at the news item in this class, it'll have the last part you need, which is like the $ parentheses, quotation marks, full current path.
And then it should all be running properly. Everything
In
else.
Notepad. You can run it in Notepad. Make sure you save it to some key, and then you can run it, and then it should pop up with your script. So just do like a hello world in Notepad. Try to run it. If it comes up with hello world in command line, then you did it. If it disappears or if it does something else, then just shoot me an email.
Alright.
Yes.
This is a lot to
It is. What's that? Yep. Python.org. Yeah. It's python.org to download Python. Do that.
You just want to send just this part.
Well, not that, but yeah, that your actual
One section, right?
yeah. I mean, I see you have it, so it's fine. I believe that you have it. So yeah, write that pseudocode in idle, and then screenshot. I always want you to do screenshots. Don't send me the file. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to send it back with a snarky comment saying our instructions difficult for you. Just send me a screenshot. Always a screenshot. Unless you have an issue, then you can send me the code and I can help you out with that. But what's up?
So what we did today is basically what we got tonight's morning.
Just with the actual assigned one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Yeah.
Is it about the assignment or is it about?
It's about Python.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.